They told you poverty was a circumstance, a statistic, a birthright you couldn't outrun. But they lied. They lied to your face every single day of your life. You were never poor because you lacked money. You were poor because they trained you to think like a servant, to kneel before a paycheck, to worship job security like a god, to spend your most powerful years chasing crumbs while they printed the entire loaf in the back room. From the day you were born, they handed you a script. Go to school, get good grades, get a safe job, work hard, save money, retire at 65. That was never a plan. It was a prison sentence written in invisible ink, with your freedom as the price of admission. And the worst part? You thanked them for it, because no one told you the truth. The school didn't. The politicians won't. Your job sure as hell won't. They're part of the same machine. Fake teachers, fake lessons, fake money, all engineered to keep you working for something they print out of thin air. But here's the truth they'll never say. The rich don't work for money. They create money. They control money. They multiply money. And they do it with the same system you were told to fear. Debt, taxes, assets, leverage. You see, in 1971, President Nixon killed the gold standard. The dollar became debt. Just paper. Monopoly money backed by confidence. But while the middle class kept saving that paper, the rich started borrowing it to buy the world. You were told, save money. But how do you save something they're devaluing every day? You were told, get out of debt. But the rich get richer by using debt to buy cash flow. You were told, invest in mutual funds. But the rich own the funds. They don't park money in them. They handed you a rule book written to keep you obedient. Because obedient people are easy to control, easy to tax, easy to pacify with promises of pensions, promotions, and pathetic pay raises. You were never educated. You were programmed. And the pain of that lie, you feel it. Every time you look at your paycheck and wonder where it all went, every time you see the taxes, the inflation, the debt rising, and still, you go to work. You wake up in the dark, clock in, clock out, come home, rinse and repeat. Because deep inside, you believe this is just how life is. But it isn't. And I'm here to tell you something the system never will. You will never be poor again. Not because you win the lottery. Not because you hustle harder. Not because you wait for the economy to turn around. But because right now, this moment, you're going to burn the old script, tear it up, throw it away, and never speak its language again. The poor speak in limits. I can't afford it. I'm not smart enough. That's not realistic. But the rich ask one question, and it changes everything. How can I? 3 words. That's the switch. That's the difference between destiny and desperation. How can I afford it? How can I buy assets, not liabilities? How can I build income that works when I sleep? It's not about the answers, it's about the mindset that hunts for them. Because poverty is a mindset, a mental virus passed down like genetics. And you were infected early, told your home was your greatest asset, while it bled money every month. Told your paycheck was safety, while inflation picked your pocket in silence. Told your diploma was wealth, but no one taught you cash flow, leverage, or taxes. Do you see it now? Real wealth isn't about saving. It's not about income. It's not even about hard work. It's about control. Control of your mind, control of your time, control of your financial education. The rich aren't smarter. They're just playing a game you were never taught. A game of assets, cash flow, and silent leverage. Let me show you what they never will. A house isn't an asset unless it puts money in your pocket. Your job isn't security, it's a leash. Your time is not worthless, it's your most valuable currency. And school? School was never about teaching you how to be free. It was about preparing you to follow rules, to take orders, to sit still and obey. You think that's harsh? Then answer this. Why don't schools teach taxes? Why don't they teach you what an asset is? Why don't they teach you the power of passive income or how to read a balance sheet? Because if they did, you'd stop working for the system. You'd stop being a cog. You'd start building your own machine. Let me tell you what my rich dad told me. If you work for money, your brain shuts off. But if you learn how to make money work for you, you will never be poor again. So he made me work for free. He challenged my ego. He refused to pay me because he didn't want me to think like an employee. He wanted me to think like an owner, to understand value, not wages, to chase opportunity, not approval. And I was angry, frustrated, confused. But over time, the lesson became clear. Money follows value, not effort. You can work 80 hours a week and still be broke. Because if your work builds someone else's asset, you're just a pawn in their game. But build your own asset, buy back your time, own the system instead of renting a piece of it, that's freedom. That's wealth. That's the beginning of never being poor again. And the path is right in front of you. Not in stocks, not in saving, not in sitting still and hoping, but in learning, executing, risking, failing forward, refusing to play a game you were never meant to win. You've been playing someone else's Monopoly board. The trick? Buy the board. McDonald's doesn't get rich from burgers. They own the real estate. Amazon doesn't pay taxes like you. They structure their assets for maximum control. You think the wealthy are cheating? No, they're just educated differently. They know the code. And now, so do you. You know when you shift the question from can I to how can I, you start playing a completely different game. That's when your brain opens up. That's when your spirit, buried under years of self-doubt, rigid schooling, and inherited poverty, begins to wake up. This isn't about hype. This isn't about positive thinking. This is about wiring your brain for wealth, not just financial wealth, but the kind of wealth that makes you unshakable. Because once your perspective changes, your reality has no choice but to follow. Think about the legends of history. Thomas Edison didn't ask, "Can I invent light?" He asked, "How can I make the darkness disappear?" He failed over 1,000 times, but he understood something most people never will. Failure is tuition in the school of wealth. Henry Ford was told he couldn't build a car that would move the world. But instead of listening, he pushed his engineers to figure out how, not if. That's the mindset of someone who refuses to stay poor. And poverty, let's be clear, isn't just lacking money. Poverty is a prison of the mind. It's the belief that your past defines your future. That because your parents struggled, you must too. That because the world feels stacked against you, there's no point in trying. It's a lie. A comfortable, socially accepted, generational lie. And it's time to break it. You were not born to be average. You were not built to obey. You are not here to be taxed into oblivion while you trade your time for a paycheck that dies the moment you cash it. You were born to build, to own, to create, to lead. And yet, the system grooms you to consume. Sit in neat rows, obey the bell, memorize outdated facts, follow orders, get good grades, take on student debt, then spend the next 40 years paying off that indoctrination with interest. They never taught you about assets, never taught you about debt as leverage, never explained the 3 types of income. They don't want you asking how Bezos pays less in taxes than the man sweeping the Amazon warehouse floor. They want you confused, distracted, and most of all, obedient. But the moment you wake up, truly wake up, to how money actually works, everything changes. You stop fearing debt. You start using it. You stop trading time for dollars. You start building assets that pay you in your sleep. That's the core of wealth. Not more hours worked, not more degrees, not more grind. Leverage, ownership, strategic education. That's how you escape. So ask yourself, do you want to be rich or do you want to feel safe? Because most people choose the illusion of safety. A paycheck is not safety. It's dependence wrapped in a direct deposit. You get a raise, you pay more tax, you buy a house, the bank owns it. You save money, inflation eats it alive. And then you wonder why, after 40 years, you have nothing but regrets and a half-finished retirement plan. Meanwhile, the rich are moving silently. They don't chase income. They acquire cash flow. They don't buy liabilities, they buy control. They don't work harder, they work smarter, with people, with systems, with capital.